Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry for the slight delay. I think of 5 minutes late or something like that. The internet has been slow. I think it's because everybody is watching Orange is the New Black and, all the shows on Netflix that are popular. And I live in a dense neighborhood of condos and apartments and all that stuff. Hello everybody. Cody Son, Calum T, Aquatics, Justine, how's it going? Animal lover number one, how you doing, girl? Christy Hayes, Aquaballs, you always on. Right on. Thanks, guys. So, as people roll in, yeah, I'm glad Christoph Dow, glad you could make it as well. Uh, who else we have in here? Learn as you grow, Rico Dogao. so, uh, yeah. Today I wanted to touch on, we've talked about this in the past, and pardon me if I sound tired or uh, flustered. Um, Aqua. I agree. I should make you a mod. I'll do that. Aqua balls. I'll make you a mod. If you'd like that. I mean, I wouldn't want the responsibility, but you are awesome. So cool. Yeah. So basically, the last week has been a crazy week for me. As people filter in, I'm just gonna kind of banter for a moment about why I'm a little haggard. But then we're gonna talk about the real benefits to fighting things like chronic pain, um, you know, terminal illness, grieving the loss of somebody, addiction, anxiety, depression, mental illness, uh, and how aquariums and to an even larger degree, aquascaping has really been found to improve uh, the outcome and the uh, mindset of people facing these things. And I can attest to that. I definitely, fish keeping has saved my life um, on two, if not three occasions. And I mean that. And I hear stories. People like all of you watching. I hear stories and I read more and more as time goes on about the magic or the amazing ability of nature and aquariums. Uh, they're kind of interchangeable. It's similar with pets, cats and dogs and things like that as well. Um, but we'll get into that in just a sec. I just wanted to let you know that today mentally I'm a little mixed up again since the lightning strike a year ago. I'm usually fine, and usually when I go on a live stream or make a video, I'm like ready to be chatting and charged. But last night I didn't get a lot of sleep. I got about 4 hours of interrupted sleep, so I just thought I would let you guys know why I'm a little slower. Like my head injuries and the electrocution rewired a lot of my brain, and I had to learn how to even draw. I couldn't write my name for months, and so you guys have probably heard this before if you've been on the channel for over a year now. So I don't want to go too far into that. You can always go back and watch the videos where I discuss exactly what took place. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm just a bit haggard, and I wanted to keep the promise of having live streams on Wednesdays and Sundays. Trying to have them on Sundays in the late morning here on the West Coast, so 11 or noon, and then having them in the evening, early evening, like 4 to 6, somewhere in there on Wednesdays. I'll try to dial in an exact hour with these things, but life has been really crazy with doctor appointments. I guess I'll share something that's really private, but anybody watching this channel, watching these live streams, if you're still even listening at this point, obviously you're invested, and we're friends of sorts in that weird digital era way. Um, but my wife and I went to a fertility clinic, and so we're looking at. We've been wanting to start a family for a few years. Um, Unfortunately, we've had issues with miscarriage, and I'm 10 years younger than my wife. She's 40, uh, 41. I'm 30, about to be 32. Uh, Actually, I guess I have 6 months. But in any case, it turns out that when I got hit by the lightning, also, it hit a nerve that controls. I don't want to get too descriptive. Hit a nerve that controls some stuff that makes it a little more difficult now for us to start the family. So we've been going to see doctors, and we got the first bit of good news, which is that where fertility a lot of times is not covered by insurance, this round actually is, because the lightning is what broke me. It's not her and her age or anything like that. And then also she's in good. They did tests on all her levels, and she's got levels of like a 30-year-old woman rather than a 40-year-old woman. So that's awesome. Uh, any case, yeah, so part of why I'm also a little spacey and down, damn, why I chose this topic today. It's the anniversary of a friend's death. We have been, so there's an aquarium that I take care of now, or at least I've been helping the family take care of. One of my close friends had a 9-year-old son and a 4-year-old son, and he died in June after 2 rounds of rehab. He was out doing really well. He was never a street junkie or user like that. He was buying pills of Percocet for his hurt back after doing construction and stuff like that over the years. And he bought some that were fentanyl and mixed it with alcohol, and he died. And I had been his sponsor for a year and a half prior to that. So I've been taking care of the aquarium that he and I set up for his kids, for his sons. So his 5-year-old now son is really into it, and the pressure of making sure that the fish don't die is really heavy. The kids, 5 and 9-year-olds, really between the two, you see the difference in understanding death and mortality, and the older one has been very protective of the fish tank, really freaking out and worrying if somebody doesn't feed the fish or this or that. And so I just wanted to let you know that if you have friends or family members who are struggling with addiction, it doesn't matter what they've done as far as betraying you, stealing things, all that kind of stuff. There's plenty of good people that have just been ground down into a point where essentially they're suicidal, and they either understand that that's too selfish and they shouldn't do that in their current state, or they're slowly killing themselves with drugs and alcohol. So definitely reach out to those people, because I find that it's when people have been doing well, when they're recovering. I live in an area that's hit very hard by opiate addiction, heroin and fentanyl and Oxycontin back in the day, Xanax, all that kind of stuff. And I've lost 9 friends now to overdose of alcohol and opiates. And I got this guy an aquarium with his kids, set him up, hoping that he would get into it maybe, but he was definitely not in a place to enjoy it. But his kids are now, and it's interesting how the aquarium has become a metaphor for life. The kids are really concerned with the mortality of the fish. The older kid has said, everything dies. He's very frustrated, and I understand. Must be really confusing. They didn't see their dad. They didn't. They didn't see their dad as a junkie or anything. They saw him sometimes sleepy, and that was the extent of it. I mean, he had a family and a normal job and looked normal. He didn't look like some homeless junkie. So I know there's a lot of people out there struggling. I've been involved in every side of the equation over the years. I have been sober for almost 11 years now. It's usually alcohol and pain pills mixed together in almost every case that's killed my friends. I'm seeing people talking in the chat right now, and Violet Alpha, you're going to be a drug counselor. That's great. That's awesome. We need more people like you that care, definitely. Justine is mentioning she has a friend who died from alcohol, painkillers, and yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, wow. Fish lover, so sad. She says, I lost my son from an OD. Man, I can't imagine that. I am incredibly sorry to hear that. But it really goes to show you how much this issue has touched everyone, and it needs to come out of the dark. It needs to come out that when I was in the thick of it, when I was a teenager and in my early 20s, and I was selling drugs, I'll admit it, I've been in trouble, and I can, this is going to be a candid, you can ask me whatever, because I feel like I'm married, I've lived this new life, and I was that suburban kid, didn't have a lot of parental watch. They were working all the time. And so I had my fish tanks and video games and that kind of stuff. And I was very introverted and into learning and nature and hanging out with older people. My grandparents, my grandmother really helped raise me a lot. And so that was always a comfort. And I think it's really cool to instill the main things I see are stewardship. So to instill in children, whether they're your kids or other people's kids, or just, you're a teacher or something like that, that we need to take care of nature. We need to take care of plants, animals, and the connectivity. It's almost, I should put a video together next time this happens, but say a plant dies in the tank, and maybe your kids, you, me, maybe we don't care that a bunch of Valsinaria died when we used Seachem Flourish Excel on it or something, but that melts and ammonia is released and it burns the gills of a bunch of fish. Some of those fish don't make it, they die, and then more ammonia is unleashed. bacteria blooms, the water gets cloudy because it's trying to keep up with the ammonia and the nitrites that ammonia is turned into, and soon you can see the whole ecosystem is disrupted. And I think that's a powerful lesson for kids to see the variables, to see when one thing that maybe you don't care about the plant. I mean, most kids probably don't care about the house plant looking thing in there. But to see how it's all linked together, or when one fish goes down, if you don't take care of it, it can spark a problem that can ruin the whole tank. And so I think stewarding or taking care of a microcosm of the world at large, one, it gives meaning and purpose to the day and to the week and the schedule of kids and to us as adults. A lot of things we cannot control, and it's a catch-22 because the things we can't control is some of the most magical, awesome stuff that goes on in our aquariums, right? Like, when babies are born, when you wouldn't expect that those fish could spawn in such a crowded tank, or when you realize that one of your fish has some trait that you've never seen before in a guppy, or your shrimp are looking just phenomenal and you have a new mutation, or the work you've done uh, culling has really paid off. Those things are you control the variables, but you don't control the outcome directly usually. And so a lot of times, um, people who feel like they don't have control in life, aquariums are a way to exert some control on a micro world. To people who maybe that's not their issue, but they feel like they have a lack of love, or they have a lack of positivity in their life, of anybody who relies on them. Uh, what I want to say about addiction, anxiety, depression, PTSD, all of that stuff, you guys, the reason you feel that is because you are stuck in your own head. Now, that doesn't make it any less real, that doesn't make it any less intense or painful, but you're stuck in a loop in your own head. And what you need to do to move past this, to work through these things that are real, and they should not just be shrugged off. So many people are dealing with these issues, and they can evolve into things like overeating, or uh, doing drugs, drinking too much, whatever it may be, not sleeping. There's just countless ways that these small things build up, just like the ammonia in your dying Valsinaria because you added Flourish XL, which kills Val. Things like that. Uh, you are in control, and I hope you don't just stare at an aquarium in your house and think that's cute. I want you guys all tonight, or today, or tomorrow, whenever you have time. I know people are busy, but I challenge you to spend 1 hour, 1 hour of your life staring at that aquarium until your mind's blank. You're thinking about everything but the aquarium. But stay there and think, what do I have to learn from this aquarium? What can these fish and these plants teach me? There are lessons everywhere in the world. As soon as you stop looking for them or think you have the answers to things, you have already lost your battle. We never know, we never will understand or know the full picture of what goes on in our lives, in our aquariums, but we can get closer and closer to understanding it. And maybe you will just not look at your phone. Don't have your phone with you when you're looking at your aquarium. Just look at it. And if it's thinking, gee, look at the veins on the plants. I wonder how nutrients goes up and down that under the pressure of water. I mean, at the bottom of a 2-foot tank, there's pounds of pressure. So, does the plant have a heartbeat? Does it squeeze these things like we do around? Or does it work through capillary action? There's a million questions you can ask yourself by staring at that aquarium. I try to do it daily. I pick an aquarium and I try to stare for an hour. What are the fish doing? Are they swimming in a circle or what? Try to predict it. I dare you. Try to predict what a group of fish are going to do next, very specifically. And then at the end, reward yourself. Feed the fish. Watch them. Watch the activity change and whatnot. But I think this activity for us, you're here because you guys like fish, right? You guys like fish. You like shrimp or aquatic plants, and do that. Get outside of your selfish head. I don't mean to be brutal or mean or casting stones. So many of us have very stressful lives, lots of pain, loss, things from the past that hurt, that we don't want to think about, that aquariums maybe replace in a way that we're just busy fiddling with the aquarium, and so we don't have time to worry about the other thing. I want you guys to realize that being bored or being, looking at your aquarium and thinking this is boring, it's been 20 minutes or 15 minutes, I'm not getting anything out of this, I could be doing something else. That is one of the biggest luxuries in the world. And if you're facing a stressful day, problems, the fact that you can sit down and that you have shelter around you, you have food in your stomach, you are alive, you have your limbs. Maybe you don't have your limbs. Maybe you don't have, maybe you're missing some of these things, but there's always somebody worse off than you. And getting outside of your own head and worrying, oh, I'm anxious, I'm depressed, I'm traumatized. These are things we can work on, but it works best when you're working with someone who can give you feedback, or meditation where you're mindfully examining these things from another point of view. So I'm challenging you to go to your tank and look at it for an hour. Do it once a week. That is a very small request, but do it once a week. And sit there until you have no more questions, or maybe the questions keep coming. I don't know. For me, I never run out of the questions. It started slow, and now the questions just keep coming. I think the entire universe could be linked to a fish tank, and that's part of why the channel's here. It's not necessarily about the fish. It's about our interactions with them. So nature helps us get out of our own head. We are not the ecosystem. We have a role in the ecosystem, but we need to stop living this life where we have to always be on social media and putting on an appearance of, oh, look at my cool fish, or look at this or that. Do things because you love them. And many of you are doing these things, and that's great, and you don't need this message. But everybody can gain something by meditating. And I don't care if that's Christian prayer, if that's an atheist thing, if it's a Buddhist thing, or Islamic, whatever, Satanist, I don't care. You can get out of your own head by focusing on something in the world. And what I want you to do while you look at that aquarium is think about how you can impact your tank. So whether that's optimizing filtration, whether that's adding some plants that make you feel happy when you look at them, or you think your fish will enjoy them, or maybe they'll breed in there, or maybe you want a schooling behavior, so maybe you can figure that out. Maybe it's a new substrate. Whatever it may be, I want you to think of one thing you can do to interact with that tank that has nothing to do with your other problems, you know? And a lot of us can do that all day long in our fish room, and that's why we do it. But this exercise is not about avoiding what's troubling you. It's about looking it in the face, and you look at the tank and you try to think about the tank until your brain is like, I'm done with the tank. And you'll start to discover things in your own head. I promise you. You'll start to worry about what other issues you have. Go back to the tank. Find, find stories, invent stories in your tank that are similar. That maybe you can learn something, like that domino effect. When one thing goes down, these other things happen. What is it that you're doing in your life that's causing your dominoes to start falling? Can you pinpoint it? I find a lot of people, myself included, where I feel like sometimes the world, the weight of it has come down on me, and I feel like, why does this keep happening to me? You know, I have lupus, I have bone spurs. Oh no, I have a broken neck. Oh, I get hit by lightning. I don't have money for my 20 teeth that are screwed up. I lose a job. I can't do the job that I had. I have memory issues. Oh, woe is me. And it's a really easy trap to get into. And the way to get out of it is to get out of your own head. You can start with fish, but in the end, what I'm going to be saying is think about improving someone else's day. If you start your day with the intentionality of, I'm getting up, I'm going to help someone else, that's one less amount of time, however long that help takes. Maybe that is buying lunch for somebody who doesn't have lunch. Maybe that's helping somebody sort out financial problems if you can help them with taxes. Maybe that's maybe you have a skill that's unique and you can go volunteer it. It's when you're most busy and stressed that you'll find a reward in that. And with your aquariums, I don't want to get too woo woo or new age, whatever you want to call it, too fantastic and detailed and not working off science and logic. But there is something intrinsically recharging about having a tank that you care for, that's getting outside of your own loop of care for yourself, or maybe that's abuse of yourself. Maybe you're getting home each day and you're having a glass of wine and then another glass of wine, and then you take that Xanax to chill out. Or maybe you wake up in the morning and you smoke a bowl, and that helps you relax, takes the edge off. You're in pain, you deserve it. It's not hurting anyone, you still work, you know. Then you get home and you're like, sweet, now I can really unwind, and you crack a six pack. I mean, whatever it is, I'm not judging that it in itself is destructive. I'm challenging you to look at your life. The reason I at one point in my life, I was very depressed. I had lost several family members. I'd lost a long-term girlfriend, as well as the gal I took to prom. She had died of drugs, and I was in love with her until the day she died. I also had another girlfriend, obviously, but I mean, I loved her like a sister. Off and on for years, we were involved, and I was drinking all the time. I was smoking pot. I was doing any pill that someone handed me. I was doing party drugs, if you want to call them that. And I'm gonna admit it. I mean, there was a time when I didn't care what the result was going to be. I didn't want to keep on living with the pain of my broken neck, with the pain of my mom in a coma, with the pain of things I said to my dad and he said to me, and abusing each other verbally and physically, and just all the things I could have done differently. And I wanted to just unplug. I wanted to look at my guppies and breed them. And I think there was a point where I realized I'm going to school, and this may be you, this may not be you. For my friend who just died, he hit bottom immediately. He started stealing, he started bouncing checks, he spent all their money, he spent his mom's money, he was stealing, breaking into cars, stuff that you would never imagine this teddy bear of a guy doing. Now, for me, I was always the kind of person, if I was out of things and I was sick, if I was in withdrawals, tough toots, like I would go drink or I would smoke pot instead or I would whatever. For me, I kept going to school, kept getting the money, and kept going. And for me, people were dying around me, and I thought, well, I'm not having a problem. And people really did say, Alex, you were so much more fun and spontaneous when when you used to party and drink, and you weren't so uptight. You smoked weed all the time. You were fun. And it was really hard to realize nothing's going to stop me but me in my case. Other people, they hit rock bottom, or the people around them say, man, you're a real jerk when you're using this or that, or you're always depressed, why would I want to hang out with you? You think about that. If you're depressed and people ask you how's it going and you always say, I don't know, not very good, do you really want to hang out with those people, or are you kind of like, yeah, they're always just have some problem, or it's always their boyfriend has this problem or their girlfriend has this thing? And I feel like I've heard that story before over and over from them, and they never do anything to change it. So I'm challenging you to find the parallels within the natural world, to find the ecosystem within yourself, to reflect on it, and to break that chain. Even if you don't have a problem with a substance, or you don't have a problem with anger or PTSD, I know a lot of us have been traumatized. A lot of us have been abused physically, sexually, whatever it may be. You are not broken. You're not broken until you think you are. So always work on yourself and get out of yourself. That's how you can work on yourself. It comes to you in this magical way that I can't explain. But when you work on improving someone else, when you help other people be the best version of themselves that they can be, rather than trying to get them to join you in your world of negativity, that empowers them. They remember that, and they will reflect back that positivity, and they will help you be the best version of you that you can be. And that's what I want for you guys on this channel. That's what I want for the fish we keep, keeping them not sick, keeping them healthy. Learn from your mistakes, have fun with it, bring nature into the house. It's soothing. I could go over all these studies that I thought I was going to talk about today. I thought I was going to be talking about, there's new studies that having a fish tank lowers your blood pressure on average 15 points. Wow. Wow. At the doctor's office, when they do day surgery, they require 30% less analgesic medications or numbing medications like Procaine, Novocaine when they're working on dental stuff, or if they're doing eye surgery, they use cocaine to numb the eye, as well as other cane medications. Ironically, I know we're talking about substance abuse too, but you know, isn't that crazy? That just by looking at fish, even if you in the survey, even if the people in the people in the control room and the control group, this is a big study they did in Europe, and they found it's like 28% less pain in life because of fish. They didn't say anything about go look at the fish tank. This is going to help your pain. I mean, it's just the difference of a waiting room with a fish tank and not. And I think that's the power of being reminded of nature, ecosystems, that there are little lives and universes going on outside of you, that there are worlds and lives, and even if it's on a different wavelength than our minds, than our mindsets, maybe we don't give credit to the fish, thinking that like, oh, they're not conscious or whatever. And you can argue with that. I don't know where I stand on that, but they do have some sort of intelligence. You watch cichlids raise their babies; it's freaking magical. Uh, but there's something about that we need as human beings, as part of the ecosystem, as part of nature. And I'm challenging you to consciously partake in this, not just passively absorb it. You're clearly here because you enjoy this too. So when you already have a passion, when you have meaning, when you have reason, and when you're trying to be the best version of yourself you can be at that time, that doesn't mean perfection. That doesn't mean you're getting completely clean if you have a drug issue, or maybe you're drinking a little bit too much, maybe you're eating too much junk, maybe you're having too much sugar. I mean, you can also look at it and say, hey, I'm cool with that. Like, I'm not telling people you need to not do all these things like drugs or overeating, or I have no place to tell you how to live your life. I am just telling you that for me, I enjoy the clarity of being able to watch, really, I mean, watch and interact with nature as myself, as my pure self. I also can't understate, or can't overstate, I should say, how important that is to the interactions with my parents. I've almost lost both of them at different points in times, and you never get time back. And we have time right now. And so, enjoy that time, put it into the hobby, put it into something outside yourself. Don't sit and just watch reality TV and zone out into more problems or whatever. I mean, you can do that if that's relaxing to you and you're well-rounded or whatever. But if you're suffering right now, if you're in pain, I want you to know that there's people out there. There's me. I want you to be the best you can be at this time. That doesn't mean perfect. That means set small goals and accomplish them. If you're a heroin addict, wait 2 more hours before you use. Cut down 5% of what you're using. If you're drinking, don't have that last drink. Don't get in the car and drive, be the best you can be right now, and constantly move that line ahead. If you're completely sober, that doesn't mean that you've gotten to the finish line. There's no finish line in life, guys. And there's no finish line in the hobby. And that's wonderful. That's beautiful. Don't look at your days as something you have to get through. Look at them as something you get to go through. The people who aren't listening to me right now, who aren't able to watch this, who are not with us anymore, they don't get that opportunity. Even if you're missing legs, even if you're in extreme back pain, or you have cancer, or you have an addiction, or you have a shopping problem, whatever. Hopefully it's not fish that's your big shopping problem, because I'm probably digging you a hole right now. But I just wanted to have. I just felt like I needed to get this off my chest. And it comes as I'm hitting 11 years without drinking. Now, I should admit, just in case somebody out there is like, oh, I saw you at your friend's wedding. You had a glass of champagne. Yeah, I've taken, I think, 3 sips of champagne, maybe 6 sips of beer to try what somebody's just saying, oh, you got to try this, you got to try this. And then I've slipped up. I've gotten drunk twice in 11 years. So, yeah. But for me, that doesn't take away from, it didn't interrupt my, the path of my life. And I hadn't used any hard drugs or street drugs. It's been a decade also. So for me, it's hard because I don't even want to take prescription medication sometimes, it's a hard line to know. I have PTSD diagnosed from stupid decisions I made in my youth, from running around with people doing dangerous and dumb, selfish things with guns and fights. And I inflicted that on myself. I chose to hang out with those people. Friends of mine chose to date women or men that are abusive. Make a choice to be the best you can be by helping someone else. You don't even need to worry about trying to fix your own situations in life. If you go out and every day, everybody you come across, you try to help them achieve whatever it is you see them working towards, getting across the street, figuring out a bus route, whatever it may be, that will come back to you if you're living your life that way. And with your fish tanks, this kind of got off the rails. Let me read some of the comments you guys have. But I just felt like this was this is you and I, guys. This is you as my community, as my sounding board, as my compass. And people may watch this. They're probably not going to get this far if they're not interested and invested, if it's not resonating with them. I don't have all the answers. I could be totally wrong here. For me, this is what I'm learning. These are the revelations that I am trying to apply to my life. I fall short every day, but I try every day. And I know a lot of you are too. And I know a lot of you are lonely, a lot of you are hurting, and try to help someone else who's lonely and hurting. And maybe you won't feel so lonely or hurt. Don't ever include others to get down to your level. Always lift them up and then try to join their level. I really mean that. All right, I'm way behind on the comments. Let me take a look at this. Let's see here. Yeah, it's never too late to change. You're totally right, Ginger. I know a lot of people who've been in and out of jail. I have family members. I was never in that much legal trouble. I was never in financial hardship. In Washington, they didn't really care about selling pot, honestly, and medical pot especially. And I finished college with extra degrees and in early. And, for me, it was like, I got to stop because I'm going to die. I was drinking, a fifth to a half gallon a day of alcohol at one point. And I was going to die in the long term. Even if my friends to this day, a lot of my friends, and I'm not like a holy roller who's like, hey, nobody should drink or smoke pot or do mushrooms, whatever, do whatever the hell you want. But don't let it get in the way of what you need out of your life to have it be the life that's the best life you could be living now. There's times when I think certain people learn things from those experiences from alcohol, or maybe they just need to let loose on a weekend, and that's fine. It's in check. It's no big deal. Only you know that, and you'll know it in your heart. But that challenge that I'm putting forth here, I'd love it if you guys could come back in a week or a day, come back. And if you made it this far into the video, if you come back and you tell me if you came to any revelations, maybe it's just that Alex is an idiot and I'm not going to stare at my aquarium for an hour ever again. But I'd like to know where your mind went when you were looking at your aquarium for an hour. I'd like to know that. I'd love to hear that. I've always had bad anxiety my whole life. They don't know why scientifically, why fish help, why especially bright colored fish, which is interesting to me because when I was younger, I liked bright colored fish. I bred guppies when I was as young as 8. I love the control and the science and the excitement of I can mix things. I can play God, you know, as a kid. It gave me control. It made me feel like I wasn't small, like I had a role, like I could control that ecosystem, that the whole thing could collapse like dominoes or a house of cards, like I had said earlier in this video. But now I really like the subtleties in the hobby, the aquascaping, all of that. I really love that. You guys have seen enough of my face. We can look at some comments. Um, you know, I think a lot of people I've met on here through this online uh, journey and through aquariums, through the hobby, so many people are hurting and have found relief through the lives and the worlds that we create in our tanks. For me, watching babies grow up, I don't have a kid right now. My wife and I wish we did, but we don't have someone else to instill anything in or anything like that. We can't have a cat or a dog in this place, but I can watch the success of the shrimp colony, or I can watch when I do something correct and my plants grow and have beautiful colors, or you know, I have a level of control and peace. Sometimes I just let my tanks go nuts. All my tanks are going pretty nuts right now, you know, and so uh, yeah. Um, so Ginger's a pharmacist. Interesting. Oh, hey, Fish Diva, Cichlid23. Hello. I don't even know who's still in here, but yeah. John Lamontant or LA Mountain. I have suffered depression all my adult life. I've worked through it, and tropical fish tanks have made it much less difficult to deal with. Right on. I understand that totally. You are not alone. Um, you know, a lot of people do not Daniel keeping fish. Also, guys, check out channels of people in this group. There's a lot of great people who have, you know, just other videos, and I encourage you guys to check out that. I also encourage you guys to check out the info in the descriptions of my videos. I did a video that's very thorough, I think, on substrate recently. So if you have any questions about the hobby and that sort of thing, which substrate's right, it's really dense, it's really long, but it's literally just packed with information. There's a little bit of redundancy in some of it, but for the most part, it's actually helpful stuff, and it's one of those you know, um, one of those videos that is dense, but I hope it helps. Let's see here. Uh, Also, I think having fish that take care of each other is a really cool thing. That's why cichlids, I think, are a really good thing. Uh, Aquaballs, think about why you got into this hobby so you can look at the glass box you made and relax. Yeah. Tyler Douglas, hello. Yeah, setting up an aquarium for someone is super rewarding. I agree. Uh, Damian Bloodstone, how's it going, buddy? Sorry if I'm just getting to people, and I know they've been in here for a good while now. Um, but yeah, I mean, let's see here. Sorry, guys, I'm just scrolling through. I got away on a tangent. Yeah, I agree, Spencer. When someone say I miss the old you, there's always an old you and a new you. I mean, we are Okay, so from a science standpoint, every 7 to 9 years, you are a completely new set of atoms. Atom by atom, molecule by molecule, you have replaced things in your cells. Your cells kick out one and they get a new one with the energy when you eat, when you drink water, all that stuff. And you are a completely new you within a decade of your life, if not much sooner. Uh, and, you know, you're always the new you and the old you and something in between. It's like this old riddle or thought experiment. So uh, it's called the Ship of Theseus. And maybe I'll leave you guys on this. I'll finish scrolling through the comments, but maybe I'll leave you on this since we kind of got away from fish anyhow. But this is about the fish community, us as a fish fam. Always ask if you need help with something, or even if it's just, hey, can you help me figure out what's going on with my aquarium? It's bumming me out that my fish are dying. Uh, the Ship of Theseus is this riddle that's 3,500 years old, and it says, what if you had a ship and you left from Rome, and well, Rome is inland, but okay, the coast off Rome, and you had all the supplies to replace everything on the ship, the sail, the wood, all that stuff. While you're sailing, a wave comes and it busts half the mast. It breaks it, and you have to repair the mast. So you throw away the old mast, you put up new wood, you put up a new mast, and you keep going. Then a bad storm comes, cracks the rudder off, and uh, the bottom of the boat is scraping on a sandbar or some stones or something, and lost in a storm out in the islands, and you have to pull up on land and replace a bunch of boards in the actual ship. Well, at what point is it still the same ship? When are you a new person? And if you take parts away from yourself, if you're learning, you're growing. Same with your aquarium. You're adding things, you're taking them away. When is it a new aquarium? When's it a new aquascape? When is it a new you? And I don't know if there's an answer. For people, a lot of times they're like, oh, it's your brain and soul, or they think they have a quick answer. It's not the point. It's to think about it and to think, I don't know, what is me? And every day, as you're replacing parts of yourself, the universe is doing this. Uh, you have the opportunity to improve those pieces, and I suggest you do. Is he going to use that chapstick? Boy, I'm way behind, I guess. Sharpie models and aquatics. I've been drink sober for 16 years now, drug free for 7. Doesn't mean I can't have a cold one on a hot day. I just buy one rather than 20 pack. I understand that. For me, I'm at that point now too, where I have no urge to drink. For me, it was a way to escape pain emotionally, physically, migraines, lupus. It was a way to block things out, to get social courage, to go out and be more outgoing and upbeat. When I felt like curling up in a ball and staying home. However, now it's been so long and my life has changed so much, and I have so many positive support things, so many great aspects of my life, my fish tanks, people like you. I have so much to risk. I wouldn't go out, get drunk, and go spray paint the side of a freaking building like I did when I was 16 or something. Yeah. So, uh, if I felt like it, I could. It's just at this point, I don't need it, so it costs money, and I just haven't added it back to my life. But I have nothing against it. My wife drinks. My wife enjoys legal marijuana in our state, and that good for her. Great. It doesn't impact. I don't see a huge difference. It's no different than an emotional shift, and then she's back. So, do 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 do. All right. Well, you guys, I hope Sharpie models and aquatics. I'll have to come check out your rant on your channel. Yeah, GT Organic Aquatics. K Love. Hello, hello. Sorry I'm so late in getting to all of this. Yeah. Do 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 do. John. Tim Gossetti. What fish do we recommend? No heater, top, middle, lower. White cloud minnows for the top and the middle. And lower. Sticklebacks. I don't know if you could get a hold of those, but they're kind of cool. It's a little trickier. You can use Neocaridina shrimp if you're careful, if you acclimate them well. Aqua balls, I feel you. I'm glad that your life is the way it is now. I also kind of quit drinking for the most part at age 21, but I drank from the age of 12 to 21. And from 16 to 21, I drank every freaking day pretty much. But I also was able, thank God, for some reason, to just be like, I'm done. And that was it. I was just done. Yeah. All right, guys. Not much fish chat got covered, but I hope there was something that we could connect on there. I hope you picked up something from me that I can encourage you to go look at your tanks. I just wasted an hour of your lives, but no. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe if you're not already. I'm sure you all are. And also, if you want to support the channel and new filming stuff, new adventures and going places, hit me up on Patreon, or you could always PayPal me at Alexander J. Williamson at gmail.com. That is another option if you don't like the evil corporations. I guess you're still dealing with some sort of evil corporation. But it is a beautiful day out here. I want to try to catch some pumpkin seed fish or some bluegills. And I don't know. I know that got a little dark. Wear my sunglasses at night. That's how dark and real my streams are. No. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope that you can have a great day, a great week. And I would love if you looked at your tanks and let me know what you felt, what you thought, any realizations, or if it was a waste of time. But I'd love to know if you comment on this later. Oh, Ginger, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. I forgot to mention, yes, you can, in theory, super chat. So $10 super chat from Ginger Graves. Ginger, hopefully I will get to meet you in person when I come out to Nashville. You seem like an awesome person. I know we chatted and I've got art for you. Also, speaking of art, another way to support the channel, or if you just want your art or want some artwork that you enjoyed looking at and you want a fish shirt that has, an anatomically correct, I do scientific illustrations as a job also, as part of my job. And so I do Sumi brush ink, and I used fish tank water in all these illustrations, and charcoal from fish tanks, as well as pigmentation loaded into synthetic Sumi brushes, ink pens with like a little well reservoir. And then I also have the old school bamboo method that I use as well, but on the go, I like the little ink reservoir things. So I'll be adding new art. My store, which is linked in the description below and linked to past videos in the description of the last week or so, all the merchandise. There's hoodies, there's leggings, there's freaking long sleeve shirts, whatever a boyfriend comfort tee is, all that kind of stuff. Um, and then when you select the design, they're all double side printed. There's a 20% markup on each. I get 20% of the price before taxes and fees. And so I should be having some cheaper, like $10 or $15 shirts, hopefully coming out that I can just not make profit on. That'll be a one side print, and they'll be like either black or white, probably. Simple shirts, monochromatic, so that everyone can afford something, because I just like that philosophy. But if you want, and I want to thank people like Ginger, who has gotten some of the earth tone shirts and stuff like that. She's mentioned things. Other people were like, "Why don't you make a tank top version? Why don't you do this or that?" And I'm listening and I'm making that stuff. If you guys want it, just let me know. I'll try to do it. I'm going to try to add things like angelfish, but right now we've got some cool merchandise on the Teespring platform. So look through it. It's kind of, the stores are kind of annoyingly organized. It looks like it's all white designs. Look at the design and click on the type of shirt you want. So if it's like a long sleeve, uh, click that. If it's the premium long sleeve that costs more, it's just better quality shirt, I guess. Then click on that, and then you can go through and change the colors. So I put whatever colors were available in each place in the EU, in Australia, and all that. So yeah, check it out, and I hope you enjoy it. Take care of yourselves. If you know someone with mental illness issues that's not getting help and could use it, stay in their lives, keep them in the loop, show them love, help them be the best person they can be at that time. And I challenge you all to do the same. Be the best person you can be at this time reasonably. That is a goal that everyone should be able to achieve each day. And thank you for joining me. Uh, Nothing fish related at this point. We have gone completely off the tracks, but I appreciate you guys. I care about you guys. You're a great community, and the support and love is awesome. Have a great day, everyone, and swim on. Bye.